Have you ever felt completely disgusted by something? A horrible smell, a food with a weird texture, or even an action that you find morally wrong?
Oh, definitely. The other day, I opened a yogurt that had been expired for, well, I'd rather not say how long. Just the smell alone killed my appetite.
Yes, that's a classic example. But disgust is much more than just a reaction to spoiled food. It's a powerful and universal emotion that influences our behavior, choices, and even our sense of morality.
Exactly. What's interesting is that disgust doesn't just come from survival instincts. It's also shaped by our culture and upbringing. What seems disgusting to me might be completely normal for someone else.
So today we're going to explore why we feel it and whether how disgust affect our life. And to start, let's listen to an excerpt from Cindy Kam's video where she talks about disgust in our lives.
So, listen closely and let's dive in.
But what triggers them often is culturally constructed. So let's talk about disgust. What triggers that? Well, disgust is a basic emotion, which means it emerges as a basic physiological response. You can see it in someone's face, the puckering of the lips and the closing of the nostrils, as if to ward the body off from potential contaminants. And that's what disgust is. It's when we seek to reject contact with an object, an entity, a practice, a person that we think may be impure. Disgust begins with the body, but disgust extends beyond the body to the soul and the social order. Now, anyone with a 1-year-old probably knows that the disgust reaction is not innate. Disgust emerges around the age of 2 or 3 when children are potty trained. So even though disgust is universal, experienced around the world, across time, in societies of people around the world, we have to be taught what is disgusting. That occurs through cultural enculturation and through experience. The thing about disgust is that it's adaptive, and it can lead to protection. So evolutionary psychologists talk about disgust as an adaptive physiological response.
Before we jump into our discussion, let's break down some keywords we heard in the audio clip. Understanding these will help us follow along better.
All right. First up, basic emotion. Emma, what does that mean?
A basic emotion is one that all humans experience naturally, like happiness, fear, or anger. These emotions are universal, meaning everyone, no matter their culture, feels them.
Got it. Next, contaminants.
Oh, good one. Contaminants are things that make something dirty or impure. For example, germs in food can be contaminants that make you sick.
That makes sense. So when the speaker said disgust helps us ward off contaminants, they meant it helps protect us from things that could harm our bodies.
Exactly. Now, what about reject contact?
That just means refusing to touch or be near something. When we feel disgusted, we naturally avoid the thing that triggers it.
Right? Like when you see spoiled milk and immediately pull away.
Or when you smell something terrible and cover your nose. Next one, impure.
Something impure is not clean or not in its original perfect state. Can be physical, like dirty water, or even symbolic, like when people say a tradition has been impurely changed over time.
Interesting. And the last two, innate and adaptive.
Something is innate, it means we are born with it, like the ability to cry. But in the audio, they said disgust is not innate, so that means we learn it as we grow.
And adaptive means something changes and helps us survive. In this case, disgust helps us avoid things that could be harmful, like spoiled food.
Perfect. Now that we understand these words, let's share our thoughts on what we just heard. If you found this discussion interesting, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel.
And let us know in the comments, what's something that you used to find disgusting, but later change your mind about? We'd love to hear your thoughts. So, the speaker said that disgust isn't something we're born with, but something we learn. That surprised me.
Yeah, I always thought babies were naturally disgusted by bad smells. But apparently, disgust develops when kids start potty training, so it's something we are taught.
That makes sense. I remember as a kid, I didn't think certain foods were gross until adults told me they were.
Same. And I find it interesting that disgust isn't just about food or hygiene. It also affects how we see people and behaviors in society.
Right. The speaker mentioned that disgust extends beyond the body to the soul and social order. That's deep. It's like how certain actions or beliefs are considered disgusting in some cultures but totally normal in others.
Yeah, it makes you wonder how much of our feelings about disgust are actually just cultural.
Exactly. And since disgust is adaptive, it means we learn it to protect ourselves. But maybe in some cases, it also makes us judge things unfairly.
Good point. Okay, let's move to the next part, how disgust can influence our lives. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel.
Let's talk about how it actually affects our decisions and behavior.
Well, one big way is through social norms. If a society finds something disgusting, people avoid it, and it can even become illegal, like certain hygiene laws or food regulations.
Yeah, and disgust also affects our personal relationships. If we find someone's habits disgusting, like bad hygiene, it can push us away from them.
And it even influences our choices in daily life. For example, people are more likely to avoid public restrooms or be careful about where they eat.
It's also used in advertising and politics. Have you ever seen an anti-smoking ad with gross images of damaged lungs? That's using disgust to make people change their behavior.
That's so true. And on a deeper level, disgust can sometimes lead to prejudice when people judge others just because something is different from what they're used to.
Yeah, that's why it's important to understand where our feelings of disgust come from, so we don't let them control us in a negative way.